Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. And oh boy, I think I'm getting technical difficulties here. Just give me 1 second. All right, let's put me back here and share. Where is my... Yeah, let me just do this here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, here we go. I think, now, I don't know if the countdown worked. Did the countdown go away? Were you guys there as I was sort of fiddling and trying to get everything going? I don't know. I don't know if it worked. It may not have worked. So, hey, welcome to the stream. It's live, obviously. Obviously, when we have snafus like that, they only happen on live shows for sure. But we got ourselves a green market. We got ourselves a green market today. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And we also had the rate. The rates were revealed today in the United States. So the Fed has held their interest rate as expected. So once again, there is no rate cut, though they did indicate, Jay Powell indicated that there's going to be 2 rate cuts probably this year before the end of the year. So that's at least that's something. That's at least something. Not really a big market reaction to it, because it kind of went as normal. So the market just trucking along as normal. And let's take a look now. Let's look at the market right now. All right, here we go. We will pull this up. We're starting, of course, with the TSX. We are in I was going to say a green day, but it's not by much. Not by much. We are 0.07% to the green. So, yeah, we're just holding on. We could slip into a red day before it is all said and done. There's still a good 15 minutes left on the market. We are, though, in green territory for the month. So this blue line here, this is where we entered the month. And as long as we stay above it, we got a green month. So we are still in a green month for June thus far. Looking at the S&P 500. Same idea, but the S&P 500, they're up a little bit more, 0.15 to the green. Once again, a pretty good solid day, at least. Well, at least they didn't fall. I don't know if I can call it a good solid day when it's technically what I would consider flat. Kind of a flat day, slightly to the upside. The NASDAQ, exact same situation. Once again, now they're actually even flatter than the TSX. So the NASDAQ sitting at 0.04% to the green. Same idea with the Dow Jones. Now the Dow Jones, what's interesting about the Dow Jones is when we look at the blue line, they went into red territory for the month today. They got back out. They got back out in their final candle. They've pushed back into the positive territory, but what can I say? What can I say? They're slightly ahead. And the Russell's doing the best out of all of them today, up 1.16% so far. And they're well above the blue line. So they're doing absolutely fantastic. Gotta love it. All right. It's a warm day here in Ottawa. It's a warm day in the studio. I was almost afraid to turn on lights for this show because it's just heating things up. The air conditioner, it probably needs some servicing. It's no longer very good at reaching the top floor. The basement, nice and cool. The middle floor, cool enough. But up here, not so much. Almost makes me want to move my office back to the basement. I'm not gonna, but it almost gets me there. All right. Just give me 1 second here. What the heck is that? 3 AI stocks to buy. Go away, ad. A little ad down in the corner. I don't like it. Here's our heat map. It's pretty flat. When we're talking about I see the X. There we go. There we go. Got rid of the X. When we're talking about the market, not a lot of big greens. We have a couple like over here. Well, look at this. Let's pull this up here. This is Kiera. They're up 5.54%. They're having a good day. It makes me think looking at a move like that, I almost think they might have had earnings. You know what? Let's just check because I kind of want to know now. Whoops. Here's where we're gonna go. Kiera. All right, here we go. Kiera Corporation right here. Let's hit it. Bang. No, don't give me, oh, dear banana bread. Don't give me all that stuff. Just give me, where's Kiera? Dear God, it didn't even give me Kiera. I'm having one of them days. All right, let's try this one more time. All right, now, I think, let's see. Watch more. It might be because my paid version expired and it's not letting me. Do I have too many in here? All right. Give me a second here. I'll delete a couple. I'll delete. I will delete. All right. Now we'll try this one more time. All right, Kiera, right over here. Oh, but I need let's get it. All right, let's see. Okay, it worked this time. All right, let's go in here and see. Oh, look at that. We do not have an earnings. We got, I think that's a dividend. Let's see here. Assets. Okay, widens reach. Secure a deal for certain planes, and there we go. There was a deal on the play for certain planes, natural gas limited or natural gas assets. That's, once again, that explains why we're seeing that move. All right. Holy banana bread. Let's get back to, let's get back here. And, all right, there we go. We'll get back here. So we had Kiera, and we also have over here, this here is, who is it? Celestica. Celestica is also having a pretty good day. Looking at the U.S., a little more green in here. We got Tesla. Look at that. They're up 1.92%. Yeah, and there's other go away ads. Oh my gosh. That's how they get you, right? They hit you with the ads like crazy to try to annoy you into paying for the paid version. Yeah, it's looking good. It is looking good. What can I say? Well, Google's down like 1.04. Oh boy. All of that fun. All right, let's jump on over to crypto. And we got more ads. We'll get rid of those. I may have to find new heat maps if I'm going to get added like that. All right, so we get a red day. We got a red day right across the board. A lot of red. Look at this. Bitcoin down a full 1.14. Ethereum down 1.75. Cardano down 4.53. Solana's down. Oh boy. Dogecoin is down. A lot of coins are down. Now there's a lot of crypto coins. There are about 15,000 of these altcoins out there. I like to call them crap coins. I typically, you know what? Whoa. Typically, I like to come in and just grab one. And since the market's red, we'll grab a green one. This is a coin I've never heard of. Sanko Game Core. I have no idea what this is. I can guess it's probably related to some kind of a game. Could it be a metaverse game? Might it be some other kind of game? No idea. It's well, look at this. It's worth $5.95. So that's I guess it's got a little bit of value there, but what does it do? I don't know. I find these risky. If you're going to get into an altcoin and you're going to get outside of the major coins, make sure you know what it does. Make sure you have a lot of confidence in it, because I tell you, you can get wrecked. It is safer to stick to the big boys. Stick to your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and yes, even Dogecoin. All of that fun stuff. All right. Now, I'm going to jump over here, and we will jump back in, and let's hit the chat. Holy banana bread. We're going to start off with Ricardo, who's first in the house today with a good afternoon. King Deuce is here with a let's go. Good afternoon, all, from Stan Gray. Paul is in the house with a hello. We got Mario in here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all, from Rory. Rory, you changed your profile picture. I get really used to just recognizing, like Paul. I see the little chihuahua. I know. Let me see. Pull up Paul. I know we got Paul. Rory had that picture. It's hard to say exactly what it is because I see a really small picture. But it was distinctive, and now he's changed it. All right. And there's the Nightbot talking about how to get a Friday show. We all know how that happens, how that works. Brian says, good afternoon, everyone. And hit the like button for Mary. Well, yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm going to have some coffee. Some hot coffee on a hot day. Very good. Okay. And we have Kevin, also known as the Vancouver Isle guy, saying good day, everyone. Rory says, Candace, how do you like trading with the National Bank? Was looking at it briefly today. I like the National Bank overall. I mean, I think the interface it's pretty easy to use. It's pretty intuitive. If you're doing any trading outside of just regular investing, so if you're doing like swing trading or day trading, I think the interface is pretty fast. It's very agile that way. With that being said, if Wealthsimple were to fix their desktop, they might be okay. But right now I just can't do fast trading on Wealthsimple with their desktop, and I'm not about to start trying to do any kind of fast trading with a phone or a tablet. It's got to be the desktop for that. All right. Michael comes in. Hello, Candace. Did you notice the bounce of Diversified royalty today? I did not. Let's take a look. You got my attention. For sure. Oh, that's the whiteboard. We don't need the whiteboard. What we do need is right over here, TMX money. So let's go DIV. Let's take a look and see. They're up a little bit right now. Now here we are. Oh, look at this. That is interesting. All right, let's I'm gonna head over here. I'll just remove one and then add one. I guess that's how I have to do it for now. DIV, let's get it in there. Diversified royalty, here we are. Let's see what happened. Let's see what's going on with Diversified royalty. All right, so Diversified royalty, there's news, but what is it? Let's see, they're up over 8%, on pace for largest percent increase since November. Look at this. They acquired more trademarks. Chebahut franchising trademarks. So that has got the investor base a little bit happy. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. And that's, of course, those of you who don't know, Diversified royalty. I'm just taking a look here. I've got a bunch of glare. On the screen, so it's hard to see the clock. But we have about 1 minute to the bell. So yeah, Diversified royalty. They hold a lot of trademarks. So they hold trademarks for things like Mr. Lube, Air Miles, and now they hold some of these Chebahut. I don't know what Chebahut is. So I don't know if that's really something to be hugely excited about, but it has excited some investors. And we've seen that with, well, look at this. We got a huge jump. That's a pretty massive jump up there. So that's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Kiev Katz is in the house with an afternoon gang. And let's see. Brian says, Kiera did some sort of deal the other day buying out someone. Yeah, exactly. That's what we were looking at. And that's one of the other reasons. It's either, if you see a jump like that, it's either earnings or they did something that made investors happy, like buying another company, acquiring someone, or sometimes being bought. All right, guys, it's time for the bell. Here we go. All right. All right. Market is now closed. Oh, I did that little. I like to do that big, but I did it little. I apologize. We'll just jump. We'll jump back over here for a moment. It could have been worse. I could have did. I could have did it with the evil Barbie, but I didn't. I didn't do it with the evil Barbie. Paul says, last time your air conditioner outdoor unit been cleaned, the fins on the part that suck air through with the fan, if dirty, it is harder to transfer the coolant temperature. That's probably what it is, Paul. Probably gonna have to get somebody over to do it. I wouldn't have a clue, honestly. No idea. I don't even know how to get into it. But yeah, that's probably what we're gonna have to have happen. I'll have to free some money up in the budget for it. Right now, it's not there. It's not there at this moment. But it's going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long summer. Ricardo says, good afternoon. So the U.S., not only we are dealing with no rate cuts, but also now we potentially going to the Middle East. All diplomats have been evacuated from Israel. Yes. So the Middle East. Oh boy. Oh boy. You're basically the U.S. is so close to being in that war that it's not silly. Now, of course, as you guys know, we had the G7 meeting this week in Kananaskis. So beautiful part of Alberta. If you've never been to Kananaskis country, it is absolutely gorgeous. Pierre, there's no Pierre there. Carney and Trudeau did have a chance to meet on the first day, but then Carney and Trump. Wow, I'm having a special day. I need a badge. I need a badge or something for it. But so yes, Carney and Trump, they got to meet on day one. They had a pretty productive meeting. And in fact, it's kind of where the title comes from on today's episode. Carney, after that meeting, said that we should have a deal with the United States, a trade deal within 30 days. So basically, we got about 30 days more of tariffs if he's right. If he is right. Now, mind you, Trump did leave early. He left early, head back to the United States to go to the Situation Room because of the stuff going on in the Middle East. Now, interestingly enough, the French PM or president, he's a president, I think. The French president, he actually messaged out on social media saying, "Oh yeah, he had to leave to go to to go to Washington to try to help broker a deal." Trump did not like that. He actually replied in Truth Social saying, "Nope, that's not it at all. We're not even close." And if you've been watching some of the conversation that's been happening, there's been things like Trump has been truthing out things like unconditional surrender. We know where you are to the leader of Iran. It's pretty aggressive. So the stance that we're seeing from Trump, 100% aggressive. I'm now at this point that I think within 24 to 48 hours, something's going to happen. Now, keep in mind, one of the issues with Iran's nuclear capabilities is that a lot of their facilities, like, yes, Iran's hitting them, but they're hitting the surface. They're taking out buildings on the land. A lot of it is underground. And Israel does not have the capability to dig deep into the ground. The United States does. And interestingly enough, all of the planes, so the B-2 stealth bombers with some of these special bunker busting bombs, they're all on the way there if they're not there already. They might already be there. So it's there. Now some people like to think, well, maybe the U.S. just wants a show of force to try to get Iran to the table, but I don't know. Trump's not talking that way. So this could be an interesting week. This could be an interesting week for oil. It could be an interesting week for gold. It could be an interesting week for the market. So we'll have to see. I think I think if we see American bombs starting to hit Iran this week, there's going to be some buying. There's going to be some big buy the dip opportunities. I have no doubt about that. It's coming. It's coming. All right. Jack says good afternoon. Let's see. Rory, U.S. is sending the Nimitz and a few other ships to Oman as we speak. Jack says Litecoin is my number 3 position after Northland Power and Google. Good old Litecoin. So yeah, Nate Palmatier, I believe he used to be a big fan of Litecoin. So those of you who know Nate, Nate's a friend of the channel. He's been on the show a couple of times. Has a channel of his own. Check it out, Nate Palmatier. He does a lot of finance content as well. Let's see. Rory says it's a CP Rail logo sitting in Revelstoke, BC. Let's see here. Ricardo says, I'm pretty stoked with OSCR. Been riding the wave since pre-earnings at $12.98. Been a roller coaster with the ACA bill, but today it broke out $18.85. Ooh, not too shabby. Not too shabby. Let's see. A Rory picture before was one flew over the cuckoo's nest. That's probably what it is, because I would look at it, I'm like, that looks familiar, but it was so small. It's very small. Like I don't, quite literally, on my interface that I'm using, when I see your profile picture, so Paul, when I see the little chihuahua, it's smaller than a penny on my screen. It's about, I would say it's about 60% the size of a penny. So it's pretty darn small. All right. So I did not know that was Jack Nicholson. I just thought that was Rory. Maybe I'm just naive. I don't know. What is a Chiba Hut? That's what I want to know. I don't know. It's like, is it like a Pizza Hut place for Wookiees? I don't know. I don't know. Or Chewy and Jabba the Hutt had a kid. It's now Chuba Hut. I don't know. All right. Jay says, hello, everyone. I currently enjoying my $15 cherries. Just came back from work. Next time I might drive to BC to buy a truckload. Oh, gosh, you can get some really good cherries in BC. That's one of the things. I used to get a big bag of them when I lived in Vancouver all the time. Oh, here we go. Rory, you're making the same jokes. Chewbacca Jabba the Hutt. Chuba Hut. There we go. We were thinking on the same wavelength. Thinking on that same wavelength. Love it. Let's see. Explain possible gap fill in the future for Div. That's going to be interesting. I don't know. Like, here's the thing with Div. Div will settle out. They'll be fine. I have a feeling that they will, even with Chiba Hut, I don't see them growing a lot. Like they are, to me, they're technically, I think of them as kind of an income with a tiny bit of growth. But I have a feeling that they'll settle down from this excitement here. So right now they're sitting at what? Right now I think they're at 310 as the market closes. I still see them as being a high 280 to between 280 and 3. I think they're going to sort of oscillate in that area for the most part. But I do love them. They're just a cool little stock. They are just a cool little stock. All right. Let's see. Paul says air conditioner and heat pump is yearly maintenance. Oh boy. All right. Danielle wants to know your thoughts on the price of gold. I have Lamb Gold Stocks IMG. Bought it when it was $4. Now over 10. But I am waiting because I think gold might go up. I just don't know. Okay. Well, here's the good news. The good news is most analysts are in agreement with you. Most analysts are predicting, and we're talking some of the big bank analysts, like analysts from the TD Bank and other banks, CIBC, they're all predicting gold will have a strong year. Now, it has had a strong year thus far. And here's let me make another prediction for you. If the Middle East thing continues to get out of control, a lot of people are going to be putting money into gold. Gold will be a solid bet. So it will go higher for sure. Now, here's the one caveat to this. We know what's going to happen to gold as long as things are escalating. But once things stop escalating in the Middle East, or if it starts to look like the US is going to take their foot off the pedal and maybe peace is going to happen, well, you might, and this is up to you. This is kind of where I'm thinking. That might be a time to take some profits and then sit back and then, not necessarily put them back into gold, but as gold comes down a little bit, because gold will come down a little bit on the other side of this. But at the same time, there's still a lot of stuff going on. There's still a lot of problems with the tariffs, not just, we're talking world with the world against the United States. Like, it's going to take them a while to iron out all of these deals. So I think gold will still be strong. I think it's going to be strong for this year. So you have this opportunity to either take some profits when, the escalations and whatever's going to happen with the Gulf of, I was going to say the Gulf of Mexico, but no, the Gulf, whatever happens with the Middle East, there will be an opportunity in there. But at the same time, if you don't like to play, I want to call it play, but if you don't like to sort of monitor things like that and sort of like, it makes you just way too nervous. And some people it does. If you hold on for the year, I think you're still going to be fine. Like, I don't think there's any danger of us going back, like a stock like IM Gold dropping back to $4. Not unless something fundamentally goes wrong with that company, because that is something that can happen. Even if gold is soaring, if there was like a massive scandal at IMG, sure, that could cause some issues. But, I'm the type that sometimes, and that's my trader side is like, I will take profits. I like to take profits. And you guys probably have seen that with the 0 to 100K. I will take profits. It does, if you time it right, it can work out really well. At the same time, it is hard to time things. So my philosophy of timing things right is that I look at what I think is an acceptable amount of profits. I take it. And sometimes I miss out on a bit, could have been more profits. Sometimes I miss out on that, but I'm okay with that because I'd rather do that than completely miss the boat. And, that's just how I handle it personally. All right. Paul says, I pay $47 a month for yearly heat pump air handle and tankless hot water heater maintenance and no charge on labor for 10 years on warranty work. Oh, neat. Very, very cool. And Ricardo's in that same boat, Danielle. He's holding on to, in his case, Groy. Isn't that a royalty one? I'm thinking. Anyway, NTCPF and 5 shares of FNV. I see I have to look up Groy. I'm like, I know I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. Oops, let's get out of Canva. Let's get over here. Groy. Groy. Here we go. Yes, royalty. I knew it. So yeah, it is a gold royalty corp. That's what I was looking at. So yeah. And I'm a fan of royalty companies. I like them. One of the things I like about royalty companies is just the simple fact that a lot of times they don't have a lot of overhead. It's a matter of them owning, trademarks or actual royalties in something. Like they might own royalties in a mine. So basically, all they do is sit back and just take profits or a part of the profits. So it doesn't take a lot of overhead, which is kind of good. That creates a little bit of stability in them that I like. I like it for sure. All right. Paul says the U.S. is waiting for Iran to hit one of their bases in the region. If Iran hits a base in the USA, uses the bucket buster bombs. Definitely. I think you mean the MOAB. Uh-oh. Yes, the mother of all bombs. Well, there's actually two. There's two. So the mother of all bombs, this is one that basically it's a massive, massive bomb. It's massive. Like it will blow things up on the ground like a huge radius. Like It's probably as big of a bomb can get without going nuclear, and it destroys everything on the ground, and it tears up the ground and anything under the ground at the same time. Now, the other one they have, the more of a bunker buster, this one here is like this one they drop from high up. It's really heavy. It's really big. And just it uses kinetic force of when it gets dropped. It gets dropped. It's got, it's also, of course, it's got a rocket thing too. It goes deep into the ground, and then it explodes underground. So that's kind of, those are the two options that they have that would absolutely devastate Iran's nuclear capabilities. That's for sure. All right. Brian says 23 hours ago after the bell yesterday, Keyera to acquire Plains All-American Canadian assets for $5.15 billion. Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. All right, guys. Mary is here. Hello, all, says Mary. So, guys, you guys all know this. Mary is the official captain of the like button. So now you got to hit it. You got to hit it because Mary's here. I'm going to have some coffee since you guys will be busy turning that button blue. I mean, why do we call it a like button? Isn't it technically a thumb? We should call it the like thumb. Other than that sounds really weird, but, why not? All right. Let's see. Not going to lie. Canada was always neutral. Yeah. I mean, Canada tries to stay neutral. Now, mind you, Canada does certainly get involved in things. So, during the Gulf War, Canada helped. Canada was in there with the United States, doing our part. But when you think of Canada overall militarily, at least, if we don't go before, if you look at World War II, World War I, that's a different thing. We were absolute badasses. But, when you look at us beyond that, we have moved a lot more into peacekeeping, which is a good thing. Like, the whole idea, I think was it Lester Pearson who won a Nobel Peace Prize for basically creating peacekeepers. So all of that fun stuff. But now you go back to the World Wars, and Canadians were some pretty big soldiers out there. Actually, really interesting thing for the Americans who are here, you probably don't know about this. When you think about D-Day, so D-Day, when they landed on Normandy, wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for this other thing that happened. Basically, they did a landing at Dieppe, and these were mostly Canadians. I think there were a little bit of British in there, and they got crucified. they got mowed down, but they learned how to land, how to make Normandy happen from what happened at Dieppe. So it became a massive lesson that led to the successes in Normandy. So, but yeah, no, Canadians were pretty big. And in fact, the Netherlands really, really loves Canada because Canadians during World War II, they liberated Netherlands, and they had food drops and everything. So yeah, it's huge. It's huge there. They between that and also hiding, I think it was it Princess Anne or something from the Netherlands. We hid her for a while in Canada as well. So we got this thing where they send tulips to Ottawa every year. So anyway, yeah, we're off on a tangent again. All right, jumping to Brian and jumping back from the tangent. I use my laptop, but cast my screen to my 49-inch Samsung screen. I'm getting old. Nothing wrong with that. I like big screens. I like big screens too. So I'm all for it. All right. And guys, I am jumping over comments. If you're commenting somebody else, I tend to jump over them unless you say something really, really interesting. Not to say that it's not interesting, but something that I think everybody wants to hear. Let's see. Ricardo says, "Oh, snap, really? Well, I'm not well versed in Canadian history." Yeah, there we go. All right. And Rory says, "We never followed the U.S. into Vietnam or into Iraq. That's all I can remember." Yeah, we weren't. I don't think we didn't really go into Iraq, but we did go into the whole war on terror. Let's see. If anything, I thought Canadians followed that England did. All right, let's see. What do you think of Pine Tree Capital? All right. So yeah, in my last video, number 2 was Pine Tree Capital. I like them. I like what they're doing. Like they do venture capital. So they invest in a lot of tech and defense type startups. And right now, I think there's a lot of potential in that area that they invest in. So I kind of mentioned if they back the right horse, they could really explode. But so far, they've done really, really well. And well, let me show you. PNP here. All right, here we go. So even today, look at this. Today they're up 4.432%. But we'll just go to the last year. They, not too shabby at all. So yeah, I do like them. And they don't currently have a dividend. So basically this here is all growth. So I like them. I do like them. If you haven't checked out the last video, be sure to check that out. It's, there's some good options in there. All right, coffee. All right. We followed them into Libya. All right, let's see. It is my belief that if we keep oil down, then gold rockets. The second oil goes up, then everything in society will skyrocket due to the fact every good is moved through gasoline. It's hard to say, like, if we have the situation. So for example, with what's happening right now, we're getting oil going up, but we're also getting gold going up. Gold's going up because it's a hedge against all of the uncertainty. Oil's going up because, well, crisis in the Middle East, we could be looking at some scarcity if if all of a sudden oil fields start getting hit, or if, for example, the Strait of Hamas, if that's not able to transport oil, that's going to impact world supply. Simple as that. Now, OPEC could come in if things do get bad and say, okay, well, these countries here are going to start to increase their export. So they're going to start producing more. So we'll have to see how this is all going to roll out. Right now, I would still call this black swan event. Like overall, it's a black swan event, but keep in mind, if the U.S. does start dropping bombs, it's like a second black swan is joined. So it's like a flock of black swans. Is it? No. What do you call a bunch of swans when they're together? I don't think it's a flock. I think they have a special name. I don't know if anybody knows what a flock of swans is. Let me know. Because I know a lot of different animals have funky names. Like with crows, it's a murder of crows. I don't know what it is for swans. Let's see. Ricardo says, Ricardo has a trading question. How do you manage the fear of missing out on gains? Because it's been my biggest problem. Stay too long because I get greedy of missing gains. Then half the time sell when it's coming down. So it depends on what I'm doing. Let me just pull something up here. I had to make sure I still had the thing up here. That's not what I was looking for. This one here. All right. So a lot of times what I like to do, so when I'm trading, so swing trading, I'm just gonna grab a pencil here. I'll draw this in red. All right. We're just going to say that this here is a typical stock movement. Let's say this has been what the stock has been doing. So what I like to do is, I'll do this. I like to sort of create a channel that this stock is mostly living into. So I'm going to use this to determine how I'm going to make my buys, how I'm going to make my sells. So if I do have a stock that is living in a channel, what I'm going to do is let's grab this one here. I'm going to create this here, like a little line here. And I'm going to do it on the bottom too. So I'm going to create like a zone. This is going to be my buy sell zone. So up here, this is my sell zone. Down here, this is my buy zone. All right. So when I've determined my channel, like, yeah, sure, I could sell it right there. Yeah, absolutely. That would be maximum profit. But I'm not going to, because a lot of times, a lot of times it misses. It doesn't fully get there. So when you look at this here, it didn't. So I will normally determine, if this is my sell, I might sell it, down here. So, I might have, this here would have hit it. Now this one wouldn't have, but the way this would have worked is if this is my sell zone, as soon as I get to my sell zone, I sell. Or I put a, because let's say it was here, I could either sell it or I could put a stop loss on it for here and then send it up. And then, of course, it came right back down and it would have sold anyway. The reason I might put a stop loss is if this is where it breaks out, and let's say it comes up to here, well, I'll just put this arrow in here. If it came up to here, then I'm like, okay, great. I can take profits anywhere up here outside of that zone and I'm good. So that's kind of what happens. And then when it goes down, I would have bought back in here. This is where I would have bought back in because I've entered my buy zone. Now it went down, and I'm probably panicking a little bit down here. If it depends on the thing, like if I have a lot of faith in it, I may not have a stop loss, so I might let it go, knowing it's going to come back up, and then, in this case here, my next sale would actually be about here, using that as my sell and my buy. So normally I have about, I would say about 10% of my, so if this was the full swing, so let's just say that swing was, we'll say it's 100. We're just going to say 100. Let's just pretend it's a big stock. So for me, if it's 100, if it has a swing of 100, so in this case here, I'll use some big values. Let's say, for example, it tends to flow between $800 and $900. So that's your 100 right there. So where I'm going to buy is I'm going to buy as long as it is less than 810, in this case, and I'm going to sell when it's above 890. Now that's going 10%. It really is it's gonna depend on the movement of the stock. If I have a ton of volatility, I could, in a case like that where it is coming up and hitting higher a lot, then I might reduce that, the size of my buy zone. Or if it's a slow moving stock, I might actually increase the amount of my zone. So that will be very dependent on that stock, on that company. So that's how I do it. That's how I do it. All right. There's the Nightbot again. Let's see here. All right. We'll get down here to Steve Wall. What are the top 3 dividend stocks that has the largest dividend increases over the last 3 years off the top of your head? Holy banana bread. That's a really good question. That is a really good question. So largest dividend increases. Oh boy. I don't have an answer off the top of my head because nothing is sticking out per se. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that one. I don't have an answer, but that might be one to research and turn into a video, though. I will say that. Now I wonder, Steve, I wonder. Let's just try something for kicks here. We're going to go to Trading View. All right. Let's go to Trading View products. We're going to go to their screeners, stocks. All right. We're going to stick to the Canadian market. Let's stick to the Canada market for now. All right. Now, let's see. Dividend yield. All right. I don't care with that. I wonder if they have one in here. Give me a second. I wonder if there's anything in here for dividends dividend payout, dividend paid, dividends per share, continuous dividend payout, continuous dividend growth. Let me take a look at that. Let me see what that looks like. 5 and above. 5. Oh, ka-ching, Casanovas. All right, let's take a look and just see what we got. Let's see what we got. Dividends. Let's see, dividend per share, dividend payout ratio, DPS, continued dividend growth. All right. So here we go. And let's see here. Cogeco. Interesting. All right. So I don't know. Like I've got a bunch of these that say 19. So this is where I might start to look. I might look at a few of these and see. Now I recognize right away we got Fortis in here. Fortis is a dividend king. So they've been raising their dividend for, well, 50 years, more than 50 years now. I think they're close to, I think when they raise it this year, it'll be 53 this year. Is this? No, I think it'll be 52. So they've been doing that for a while. But here's my thing. Let's take a gander here for a second. We'll head over here into Yahoo Finance. All right, and we're going to let's bring up Fortis. Whoops, FTS. All right, we got Fortis here. We'll go into the, not statistics, we'll go into the historical data. All right, now, we'll look at dividends only. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at, we'll look at the last 5 years. All right, so in this case, they've gone from 36 cents, so 36.1 cent to 43.7. I know there's more out there, but that's kind of one of the areas I would start looking at to see if I can sort of find some that have had the bigger dividends. Now, technically, any company that just started paying dividends would technically have an infinite. It would be almost infinite, their dividend increase, because you're dealing with zero. But anyway, I don't do a lot with zero, but that's what I would do. I would sort of look at things like that. The other one in there as well, let's just go here to CGO. Let's take a look. I honestly have no clue how much they have done that. All right, let's do a TO here. Cogeco. Here we go. And let's go historical data. Let's go to dividends one more time. And we'll do the 5 years. Let's take a look. Oh, they've gone. They've look at this. This is not bad. They've gone from 65 cents to $1.26. That's not bad at all. But that's what I would do, Steve. I would just look at things like that. And you might have to go back and forth a few times because sometimes when you're looking for something obscure, a screener may not have the exact category. So you might have to do a little bit of work. At the same time, another option is you could always just ask, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just do the one on Google because this here's now an AI apparently. An AI will answer. Let's see, which Canadian dividend? All right, which Canadian dividend stocks raised their dividend the most over the last 5 years? We'll see. We'll just see what it says. It's not where normally it gives me a little box up here that tells me. Let me see here. Let's try it. Okay, let's see. Try using words like yeah. All right, it's not working. It's not working. Anyway, Steve. Yeah, playing around with a screener, the way to go for sure. All right, Ricardo says, and here I thought Normandy happened because Doctor Strange figured out the Enigma machine. Doctor Strange may have been in there. Jay says, I heard there was a ban on using cash via cash donations hidden in Bill C2. CBDC could be just around the corner. Interesting. I have not heard this. I'd have to, that's interesting though. Here we go. Thank you, Jackie. It's a gaggle. So we've got a gaggle of black swans. They're black. They're black swans. All right. What do you think of ARG? So Amerigo Resources. Looks like there is not much growth, but nice dividend. Not really sure what to think about this one. All right, let's take a look. ARG. There's Blossom, guys. I won't talk about Blossom today. I just did a video on them. Here we go. So we are going to look at ARG. Here we go. So this is your Amerigo. All right. And let's see here. They've been slowly moving up. Now they are technically I would consider them to be a bit of a penny stock, but yet they do have this nice little dividend here. So 6.349%. That's not too shabby. Nothing to sort of throw a stick at. However, let's go in and just double check a couple things. If we come in here, all right, this is looking better. Very little debt to equity, so 11% debt to equity ratio. So they don't have a lot of debt, and they're pulling off a 17.43% debt on equity. I'm liking that. Return on assets looks pretty strong too here at 9.23%. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of these stocks, though, and I will say this, and I'm saying it about Div as well, so Diversified Royalty, and I love that stock. If you have a fairly large dividend on a little stock like this, it really kind of handcuffs you a little bit when it comes to growth. So I would not expect a lot of growth, but I do think that they can probably sustain what they've been paying out. So that is something to keep in mind. All right. Mugsy, a group of swans, a bevy, a wedge, a bank, or a herd. There we go. No, well, wait a minute. Gaggle is for geese, though, Jackie. All right. You know what? I think Jackie's right, even though I'm thinking gaggle is for geese. What are a bunch of swans called? Let's just do it. Let's find out. Oh my gosh. Mugsy is right. Yeah, a bevy, a herd, a wedge when flying, a flight when flying, a bank or a gag. And Jackie's right. Holy banana bread. This is like quantum mechanics. You're both right. I'm loving this. All right. I love it. Nobody got it wrong. Brian says, I missed out a lot on PLTR. Started buying them at 770, sold out 3 times because I thought they were overvalued. I had 880 shares at one point, but crazy PE ratio scared me out. Yeah. A large PE ratio sometimes does scare people, investors, absolutely. But you got to take it in context. If a company has a crazy PE ratio, but when you look at them, they're expanding like crazy. They're putting a lot into expansion. So I'll give you an example. Dollarama. I have a feeling that their PE ratio is pretty high, if I remember correctly. Let's pull them up. So Dollarama, and there we are. Yeah, they're up there, 44.32. So that's a larger PE ratio, but it makes sense in context to what they're doing, to what the business is doing. So you can have a high PE ratio, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're overvalued. It might mean that investors have a lot of confidence in what you're doing, in that expansion that you're pulling off. So now, if Dollarama was just a mom and shop shop, and they weren't expanding, they just had a couple stores, there was nothing exciting going on, and they had a high PE ratio like that, then I would look at it completely differently. I'd be like, you know what? I think they're overvalued. And that's kind of the way I would handle that. So don't always look at a high PE ratio. To me, a high PE ratio means it's time to take a look. And not just, one of the other things too is, as you know, when I do a deep dive, I will tell you the average amongst their peers. So if they have a PE ratio that's high, but everybody in their sector has a PE ratio that's high, well, then that will also take away some of that fear, because that's the best way to use a PE is to compare it within that sector. So if you were looking at one of the banks, you compare the PE ratio between Bank of Nova Scotia, Royal Bank. It has a lot more meaning when you're doing it that way. All right, and Brian says now only 100 shares and missed out a lot. And yes, all depends on what the Swans are doing. Yeah. Well, in this case, they're flying over Iran dropping bombs. So yeah, it'd be the one for flying. It'd be the flying one. Which one was the flying one? Now let's go back here. A wedge. So they're a wedge right now. Yeah, they're a wedge. Oh, that's now I'm thinking of Star Wars again. Wedge in the X-Wing. All right. Ricardo says, same Brian, I had 150 shares and sold when it dipped to 21. Weird financials. All right. My last buy was 100 shares at. All right. And Rory says, my next account will be a cash account, so I can trade. My investment account is a TFSA, so no trading in there. So I'm missing some swings here. Yes. I know you can do trading in your RRSP if you do have one of those. It is perfectly allowed in there. But yeah, no trading in your TFSA. No trading in your TFSA. The CRA does not like that. All right, Brian says, I did make money along the way, but man, I could have had 170K Canadian for about 18K at one point if I kept them. All right, and oh, look at this. We got ourselves a super sticker. That means that Mary is now, she's now hit GOAT status today. GOAT status. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. Thank you very much, Mary. All right. And that also means that we're that much closer. We're one step closer to a Friday show. All right. I'm sure that the night pot will pop up again soon enough. Let's see. Steve says, is it me or is Propel Holdings the best stock on the TSX? It has an amazing upside and growing its div. All right. So Propel Holdings, let's take a look. I do like Propel Holdings. All right, here we go. Propel Holdings. All right, here we go. So PRL, Propel Holdings. And let's just go back to the 3 years. So yeah, you can see 3 years ago, about $9, actually about $7. But since about 2023, and they've been absolutely on fire. Now, other than Liberation Day, here's Liberation Day. Other than this little bump, they've been doing fantastic. Now, this one, it has a healthy little dividend, so 2.149%. So that's not too shabby. And when we go into the back end on it, let's pull this up here. You'll notice they do have some debt. So they've got basically 118% a debt to equity ratio. So yeah, a little bit of debt. It's not out of control, but it is a little bit. But look at this. They do have some pretty good return on equity, 32.93%. And I get excited over 20. Now, I will say sometimes if you have a higher debt to equity, it can skew this up a little bit. But 118 is not high enough to really skew it. The return on assets looking good too. So yeah, Propel Holdings, I think of them as being a nice solid stock. I don't know if I would say it's the best stock on the TSX. I wouldn't go that far, Steve, but it's not bad. It's not bad. And, can it have a holy banana bread? Sure. Why not? Yeah, holy banana bread. There we go. Let's see. All right, so 7 days. Jack, be careful with that. I look at, for me, it's 30 days. So if I sell something in my TFSA, and then the price goes down, I'm not going to buy it back in 30 days. Like for example, I just pulled off the Air Canada trade. So Air Canada is off the table in this month, in June. So in July, though, if Air Canada drops below $17, I'll add it back to the challenge. But yeah, be careful in there. If you just do a few trades, you're probably not going to be You're probably not going to get in trouble. I don't want to say you won't get in trouble. I'm saying you probably won't get in trouble. For the most part, the CRA, they're looking for people who are doing, big time trades. Like you look at the ones who make the news. There was a guy who was basically trading like crazy, and I think he made like hundreds of thousands of dollars in his TFSA, and all of a sudden it became taxable because he was not using the TFSA for what it was meant for. All right, Ricardo says, is the TFSA like a 401k or a Roth or an IRA Roth? So it's my best understanding is that it is closer to a Roth IRA opposed to a 401k. So yeah, it's closer to your Roth IRA. I mean, there's definitely a lot of differences. It's kind of interesting. If people would watch it, I would make a video explaining the difference between Canada and the US and some of these accounts. But honestly, whenever I make a video of that nature, nobody watches it. They become my worst viewed on the channel. Oh dear. And there it is, Nightbot. Yeah, so we're currently sitting at 1. So 3 more of those 3 supers, or even gifted. Like if you gift somebody a membership, that will count as well. All right, let's see. Ricardo says, I have a personal brokerage account to play with. My retirement stuff is managed by the university because I ain't messing with it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. If you're going to trade, you don't want to throw all of your chips into your trading account. You want to have your investing accounts. You want to have your retirement accounts. And then you want to have your trading, and keep it separate. Keep it separate. So for example, if you're a trader, that's probably that's probably going to be a lot of your income that's being generated, and it's going to be, of course, outside of a protected account, so it's going to be taxable. So in Canada, it's business income or business losses. You got to remember to keep track of both, because you don't want to be paying more taxes than you have to. And if you're a new trader, you're probably going to rack up a good amount of business losses. No doubt about it. All right, not sure the U.S. equivalent, but TFSA is completely tax-free unless you are day trading or going all in on penny stocks. They sometimes go after that too. Yeah, day trading is that big thing. Now, if you go all in on penny stocks, but you actually hold them, like as in you go all in on a penny stock because you want to invest in it, you believe in the company. That's not going to be an issue. But a lot of times when people go all in on penny stocks, it's to flip it. It's, they're going in, making a quick dollar and flipping it. That's kind of what they're going after. All right. Let's see here. Can't call a week day trading. No, but you can call it swing trading. And swing trading is technically also considered business income. All right. Doorpat says, I feel like FOMO on Blossom these days. Almost every keeps talking about all the payouts they receive monthly from covered call ETFs. I'm beginning to feel my 100 growth stocks and ETF are wrong. All right, well, we'll talk a little bit about Blossom. It's social media. Social media is one of these things where everybody who's losing money is not going to come on and make a post. Everybody who's messing up is not going to come on and make a post. Some will, but not many. People are going to post their victories. So when that's all you see, if you're going through that feed and you're seeing people posting about, oh, I made this, I made that, keep in mind, they're not talking about, oh, but I also lost this, I also lost that. They're not talking about that. So, like I'll always say this, try to keep your emotions in check, and always keep in mind, just understand that for, every post of a victory that you see on something like Blossom, there's a post of a failure that did not get posted, either from that person or from another person. But you have to sort of keep it in perspective. Keep it in perspective. Heck, okay. Adorpat says, I have about 30 years to retirement and don't need the income. Priority is maximum capital appreciation. Right. So, in a situation like this with Dorpat, these income stocks, as flashy as they are, they're not the right move. They're not the right move at all. So in the case of Dorpat, what they should be looking at, of course, is what's going to give them the biggest bang for their buck? And most times we're talking total return stocks. So those are your dividend growth stocks. Those are the ones that, when you add the dividends into the growth, especially if you're reinvesting those dividends, holy banana bread, you're going to get some bigger numbers. When you look and you'll see, like if some of the list videos I do, you can see, oh, this stock has, over the last couple of years has had 100% growth. Well, that's a little bit better than getting a covered call stock that's maybe giving you 15%. Well, that's 15%. 15% is a lot smaller than 100%. So yeah, in a case like that, the total return, the growth, the dividend growth, those are what you should be focusing on. You shouldn't really, it's okay to have a few covered call ones, like if you want to have that income. If you really, really just want to be an income investor, sure, why not? But you're not going to maximize what you could have been making. That's just something to keep in mind, because it does, it doesn't make as much. It doesn't make as much. Now, mind you, when it does feel good to be into the covered call stocks is when the market's like flat. Like if we have a year of flat and nothing's really growing, those covered call people are sitting there making money, and that feels a little bit better. But, in the long term, even little trends like that, when you've got a 30-year runway, if things are flat for a year, but then explode the next couple of years, you're laughing. You're laughing compared to if, maybe you could have been a little happier in the flat times because you got those constant dividends. You're still going to get dividends, though, as that total return. You're just not going to get huge dividends. You're going to get, you can get some nice dividends, just not massive. All right. Ricardo, I have about 38 years to retirement, but I have it spread out in 35 international, 35 US, and 30% bonds. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Candace. In addition to its new American acquisition, Diversified announced a 10% if its dividend, which explains the bounce. I hope it holds over $3 this time. Oh, did they increase their dividend? I did miss that. All right. I got to look. I gotta look. All right. Oh, that's actually kind of exciting. All right. Now it may not have been updated here yet. Let me just see. Yeah, like the last one here is showing the June 30th one, 0.21, but yeah, if they have announced that they're upping that dividend, that's huge. It just hasn't shown up here yet. And sometimes that could be true. Like let me just say, if they said they're hiking their dividend, it's still not going to show up here until they've actually declared the next one. All right, let's see. But my personal, oh my God, I will be swinging penny stocks, blue chips, and straight up YOLOs. All right. Yeah, why not? Let's see. Jack says, I'm 21.91% in stocks, 9% cash, and 74% of my stocks are in my top 3 positions. Extremely high conviction on them. Yes. Your top 3. I remember. Brian says, I'm 65, but my bank investments ask me what I plan on eating when my money runs out after 10 to 11 years. It's an interesting question. I always look at it this way. One of the things about your bank investments, obviously, is if you're at that point that you are in retirement. If you are, I'm not sure if you are, but for some reason, I seem to think you're still working, but you're almost there. Yeah, here's the thing. Look at what you're going to receive from your benefits. Of course, you've got OAS, you got CPP. You might even, maybe you qualify for the GIS as well. So that's all fantastic. And then if you've got your money sitting in a TFSA, and this is where I would start, if I want income coming out, I would start looking at perhaps those income stocks and get a nice flow of tax-free income coming out. And if you're lucky, if you've got enough, then you might be able to create a little bit of a living, hopefully a living wage, and most of it will being tax-free. So that's the beautiful thing. All of the dividends coming out of that TFSA, they're not going to impact your OAS, your GIS, your taxes in any way, shape, or form. So That's not too shabby. All right, let's see. Did you tell them hope and dreams? Can't even eat paper because everything's going digital now. I don't know. I don't think I would eat paper. TD is doing a 1% cashback if you invest 10K or more into new trading account. I'm with them already, but said nah. Yeah, well, that 1% cashback after you pay all of your commissionings, it'll eat that up pretty fast. That's for sure. All right. Let's see. I'm the same. I'm looking at maybe moving out of them a little more to Wealth Simple. Yeah, Wealth Simple. I like it. It's good. Wealth Simple's the best. It's all I use. Trying not to keep all the eggs in one basket, as it were. All right. Let's see here. Better research. Bet you can never research too much. That's one thing I will say. Research is good. See, I only choose my own stocks. I don't even hold ETFs. Let's see. You can still use Palantir PE ratio. There we go. 608%. That's a crazy PE ratio. But also, I mean, Palantir's been a crazy stock. And there's been some unprecedented amount of demand for what they're doing. So definitely interesting. It's one of those ones that I've never gotten into them. But you know, I do regret it. I don't regret. I don't like to regret. I like to just sort of say, okay, yeah, that's a position I didn't pull, because there's always another position. You know, if you miss a rocket to the moon, don't worry, there's always more. That's the way that's the way I live my investing world. Let's see. Out of 11 positions, I own 2 ETFs. See, dang, you guys making me feel bad. My little account holds like 27 different positions of option contracts and single stocks. There we go. Jack says, if I were older, I would definitely own an ETF or 2, but I only have 9 positions and 74% in the top 3. All right. Brian says, I was selling Palantir at over 200% PE ratio. All right, let's see. I've missed Dollarama so many times in trying to buy it. Just can't get there. That's fine. You don't have to. I mean, you know, like I said, it's okay to miss a rocket to the moon. And we're kind of at that point with Dollarama that they're kind of more of a steady little climb now, opposed to, like, I don't see explosive growth for them, but, you know, I could be wrong. Let's see. I went with NWC for consumer retail. They specialize in small communities where they're often the only or best option, better PB ratio than Walmart, Loblaws, and Dollarama. Nice. Let's see. I roll them all in a BMO ETF. There we go. Okay, I meant to say I haven't rebought the same stock yet. I wait 7 days after buying a stock to sell it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's fine if you're selling. All right, understood. As how far behind am I? All right. I missed Larry. Larry arrived. Hello, Larry. Good to see you. Let's see. Brian says, I watched a video a few weeks ago. 2 Canadians now have 40 million in their TFSA. They won't say how, but the CRA said it was legal and not taxed. I think the main contribution is just over 100K now. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, if you absolutely made all the right moves, you could have some really big, like, you take a look at some of the big rocket ships that have gone, like some of these, you know, some stocks that, you know, may have, especially if they were buying like penny stocks that absolutely exploded and went up 1,000%. Yeah, you could have some big ones for sure. Ooh, Spaghetti Wednesday. The firm of Larry is in the house. Rory says, Larry just made 8 billion today. Maybe. Well, actually, not him. It'd be his investors who made 8 billion. All right, let's see. Yeah, he shorted the VIX, and it's why it died after Jeremy. Let's see. I've been watching anime all day. Ain't made nothing. Well, yeah, as long as it was good anime. As long as it was good. Let's see. I want to be like you when I grow up, Larry, which is the favorite anime lately. Let's see. I'm currently fighting with my surfboard. All right. Saga of Tanya the Evil. There we go. Let's see. I'm not retired yet. We'll change to semi part-time next year. I take my OAS and invest it all in my TFSA. CPP hoping to wait until 70. I have an X that will take about 30% of that. Oh boy. Yep. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. Oh, I think I've almost caught up. Ricardo says, well, quitting time. Thanks for the chat and have a great afternoon, everyone. Trade to win. My favorite is Overlord. It's going to see 28 years later tomorrow. Oh, that looks interesting. That one does absolutely look interesting. Guys, we're almost there. We're at about an hour, 16 minutes. So if you got your last minute questions, get them on into the chat. We'll serve them on up. Oh, so good. Very, 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 very good. I'm loving it. Next video, we're actually doing a deep dive on Friday. Although tomorrow, the channel members will be able to watch it. We are going to be. Do I want to tell you guys? I don't know if I want to tell you. Yeah, PHE. PHE energy. So we're going to look at it. Actually, it's funny. I was sitting there the other day thinking, what am I going to do? I want to do somebody in the energy sector. And yeah, all of a sudden, somebody made a comment saying, can you do a deep dive on PHE? And I'm like, oh, I like PHE. So, yeah, it's happening. And then actually on Wednesday, that person came in and started asking a bunch of questions on PHE. So this is going to be fantastic. All right, the Nightbot giving you guys that last chance in case you want a Friday show. So yeah, we have one. We've got one of the four, Larry. So far, it's not looking great. It's not looking great, but yeah, you never know. there's still a couple minutes left. All right, let's see. Chewina, maybe, or Chewina. All right, I'm trying. Let's see. Hey, Candace, it's my first time in the live. Just joined 10 minutes ago. What do you tend to chat about in these, and how often do you hold them? All right. Well, so I have two different types of lives. So on Wednesdays at 3:45 Eastern time, so 15 minutes before the market closes, we do this one. It's a market close. We look at the market. We look at the days, what's happened in the day. We look at the charts. We look at, we look at heat maps and things like that. Then once we're finished all of that, pretty much whatever you guys want to talk about, that's what we talk about. Sometimes we go off on tangents. Sometimes we're just, sometimes I pull up stocks. We look at different stocks. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Now, we also have a Sunday show. These are the two, I guess I'll call them the steady shows. So on Sunday, that show is at 4 p.m. Eastern. Now that's a longer show. It normally goes a little over 2 hours. So it's called This Week, we do the news. So we look at the news, and once we've finished the news and in between the news stories, once again, we answer questions. We talk about whatever's on my mind, whatever's on your guys' minds. So yeah, it's pretty fluid. It's pretty fluid where we go, but if anything, they tend to be very entertaining, and we always end up going off on tangents, and some people really love the tangents. So all of that fun stuff. Now, with that being said, on the Wednesday show, we have a rolling tradition that if we get 4 super chats or a combination of 4, like people donating, for example, memberships to folks, then we add an extra show on Friday and we do another market close. So yeah, so normally those are the 3. We also, so tomorrow night, we have a live stream for the channel members. So the channel members, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing a live stream. Those tend to be a little bit more, I don't want to say subdued, but more or less, I come in with a more focused topic, because one of the things that I do is the channel member live streams. I release them a year later for everybody else. So this Saturday, you're actually going to get the one from June of 2024 is going to be released. So if you're not a channel member and you want to see what's going on in one of those streams, You'll get to a year later. A year later. All right. Anyway, welcome aboard, Chinoa. Chinoa. I'm liking Chinoa. Maybe that's it. I hope. I'm very bad at pronunciation, so I'm gonna defend myself right ahead. Right away. I don't even know if I got it wrong, but I'm defending myself nonetheless. Brian says, waiting on OAS, they give you 7.2% extra per year, works out to $281 after 5 years extra per month. I decided to take the money and invest only in dividend stocks in my TFSA to beat it and have 50K. Okay, fair enough. Wondering if the supposed Iran meeting at the White House will affect things. I have not heard about this. So this probably has happened since I got into stream mode for here. All right, that could be interesting. That could be very interesting. We'll have to see how that goes. Let's see. Brian says I end to look for 10% plus dividend ETFs. Awesome. Oh, Chinoa, I got it. You got it. Awesome. All right. I'm happy. Now, if you really want to see me struggle, watch me try to pronounce the name of Russian hockey players. That's another thing altogether. So just something to keep in mind. All right, guys, we're at the end. Holy banana bread. So we only got one, so we don't have enough for a Friday show, but that's fine. You know what? It's going to be a lovely weekend. So, get out, enjoy yourselves. It's actually, it'll be the first weekend of summer. It'll officially be summer, folks. So enjoy yourselves. We will be here on Sunday. We'll have a show, and I am looking to throw in a market open. I just haven't figured out the perfect timing yet, but look for that. Before the end of June, there will be a market open in there somewhere. So it's coming. All right. Until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys a little bit later. So take care. Bye-bye.